So, good morning, everyone. So, our silsila starts for another 6 months. No, for public administration. Hope you are sure about the optional. No, so it takes a lot to opt public administration. Is it like that? Anyhow, so first we'll have a brief introduction on your side. My introduction is not needed, isn't it? So that we can know about your especially let's say that subjects that you have studied. We generally try to relate the subjects you have studied and the optional, isn't it? This so before that, we'll just ask which factor motivated you to opt this optional. Yes,
I want to learn about the Indian administration system.
Indian administration. So you want to skip paper one? Yes.
Sir, I was very interested in studying public administration. I opted for this in my college as well, so I like this subject, so I chose.
Why you like this subject?
Sir, the topics here are very interesting, and I think it will help me in future to deal with these
Hmm.
questions.
Future. Yes. Good.
It will help me in the services.
It will help in your services. Quite futuristic plan. Yes. Very pragmatic. This. Yes.
I have a keen interest in policy formulation.
You have interest in policy formulation. तो इसके लिए तो आपको सेक्रेटरी बनना पड़ेगा. तो यू एम एट दैट. वो तो लेटरल एंट्री से भी आ सकता है. Isn't it? Yes.
So it's a new subject for me, and I feel like I'm a little bit sure about it.
Sure about this. So you may have gone through syllabus, etc., etc. Basic level of thing. No. Yes.
So when I go through the syllabus of the that, then I thought that it's very interesting subject and I should study about it.
It's very interesting.
Sir, I had some exposure of management topics in my engineering, so I thought.
Okay, management topics. Do you know about Taylor? Yes.
So my senior referred to.
Okay, your senior referred. So tomorrow your another senior will refer.
Then I Google it and then
Yes, so senior reference. Yes, interest.
Your smile is good. Your smile is good.
My smile is good.
Very just to study.
So yes, instantly you are choosing public ad here by seeing my smile. What, isn't it? You thought to be its PSIR class, history class, public administration. रास्ता तो नहीं भूल गए. Anyhow, yes, good.
among all the subjects, this was quite which I was interested in.
Interest factor, yes.
Because this subject is related to administration and public policy implementation.
Yes, policy implementation. Policy formulation, policy implementation. Yes. Interest.
Sir, mainly it was I was interested in this subject. Secondly, sir, it was very much related to the services.
Interest and link with administration, yes. Pragmatic approach. Overlap with GS. Lots of permutation, combination we have done? No. PSIR you also considered. No doubt, both you can study. No. Yes. Yes.
Basic things we need to know about administration.
Yes.
Basic things we need to know about administration.
Okay. The administration, futuristic. It will help in GS. Pragmatic approach. Overlapping.
Interest and its read out each how
Yes.
Because of the interest in politics.
इंटरेस्ट इन पॉलिटी, तो लक्ष्मीकांत पढ़ो फिर.
Relates into politics.
It relates to polity. Yes. Interest in help in GS. Yes.
Interested also to work
Interest in work
in administration.
in administration. Yes.
Short subject and good certificate.
Yes.
Short subject.
Source subject.
Short.
Okay, it is short.
Yes, sir.
शॉर्ट सब्जेक्ट. किसने बोला? गूगल ने बोला. ठीक है, ठीक है. सुंदर पिचाई इज गुड, स्मार्ट, isn't it? Yes.
So history foundation of puppet, I found it interesting.
Interesting. Interest. मास्टर इन पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. एक्ट ऑफ डबल इफेक्ट. एक साथ दो बेनिफिट. यस.
Overlapping and previous experience.
ओवरलैपिंग.
So overlapping.
ऑल.
Already familiar with in class.
ऑलरेडी फेमिलियर, पढ़ चुके हो आप.
Yes, and I study BTA from already study public administration graduation.
ग्रेजुएशन फ्रॉम इग्नो. यस, गुड. ग्रेजुएशन. यस. ग्रेजुएटेड. क्या बात, फिर तो डर लगेगा आप लोगों से. ऑलरेडी आप पढ़ चुके हो, isn't it? Yes.
Sir, as a non-humanities background, it has a future prospect to and GS overlapping.
Overlap, future prospect. GS overlapping.
Overlapping, but plus I have read it like a little bit in my college.
Yes.
It will help after selection.
It will help after selection. पहले तो selection हो जाए, isn't it? Yes. Familiar with the subject. Yes. Overlap. Yes. Interest factor. So basically, let's say there should be something to carry forward. This. And that should be very strong. This. Strong in the sense that, as we told that, our silsila starts for next 6 months. No, so we'll see at the end of the class, isn't it? How many people are left? Right. Sorry to speak this negative in beginning. So the question is, unless you have something strong to the subject, it will be very challenging to carry forward, especially when you start facing challenges. Just journey has started. Today it started when you entered in this class about this optional, no matter how much you study this optional before this class. So if you do not have anything that is very strong in you relating to the subject, it can be challenging, because your friends, your roommates, no, others in old Rajinder Nagar, if you are exposed to that, or even West Patel Nagar, isn't it nowadays? Shifting of old Rajinder Nagar. So if they, let's say that people raise their eyebrows, isn't it, when they hear that you have opted public administration optional, so they just simply look at you, isn't it? There's something wrong you have done. So you should be familiar with all these realities. You have to face all these realities. When you have opted, all those who have opted, all will face this. That is how. Then suppose कि आपको एंथ्रो वाला मिल गया रास्ते में, isn't it? कभी न कभी मिलेगा ही एंथ्रो वाला, तो वो तो बोलेगा कि हमारी क्लास तो 3 months में फिनिश हो गई. आप बोलोगे कि हम तो 3 months में अभी 4 ही चैप्टर फिनिश किए, isn't it? तो 4 chapters in 3 months, isn't it? So 26 chapter in 2 years. Not necessarily. Simply let's say that ki challenges are ahead. This we don't speak all those. Let's say that ki things ki everything is fine. You should be exposed to both challenges as well as let's say possibilities. This so that कि you can take right steps. This ये नहीं कि 3 साल के बाद पता चले कि exactly हमें करना क्या है. No, this is how it is. So this is first thing. So there should be something deep interest in you in this subject. This it is the first important thing. And as many people have spoken that ki they have in that subject this interest factors, that is how you have opted. So it should be the most important factor. Overlapping this and that in long run they don't matter. This you should know that they can save your time, no doubt. They can give you confidence. This they can reduce your let's say that ki time, energy, whatever. This is how they can help. But ultimately let's say that कि UPSC is UPSC, उसको सब कुछ पता है. UPSC knows everything. This किसको advantage है, किसको advantage नहीं है, isn't it? They try to have a level playing field for all. This they have their own system of normalization, and they will try to create a level playing field across all optionals. This the beat any optional that you opt, you have to apply your efforts, and efforts will come only when you have interest in that subject. This is how you should know. This will help you especially when you face challenges. Challenges आपने काफ़ी challenge face किया होगा life में, नहीं होगा तो अब से face कर लेना आप, isn't it? This because life में मज़ा नहीं आएगा जब तक challenges नहीं है, risk नहीं है, failure नहीं है. No, तो ये मत सोचो कि I will never fail. No, the bigger the failure, bigger the success. तो बड़े सक्सेस के लिए बड़े फेल्योर होना जरूरी है. Anyhow, so don't be let's say that ki afraid of all the things what we are saying. So the question is that ki first it is interest, which will start let's say when we will start talking this optional. Then second is not still that ki overlapping with subject. It is called, generally we say it as self-belief. This you should have belief in yourself no matter what people say, isn't it? इसलिए कि there would be naysayers, they will talk this and that. As I told you कि एंथ्रो वाला मिल जाएगा तो आपका सारा मोटिवेशन this, तो उससे बात मत करना आगे से जब मिलेगा तो. Anyhow, so बहुत there are also people who have mathematics optional, उसका तो कुछ भी overlapping नहीं है, isn't it? Mathematics optional. This so this is how there can be people who may have let's say कि engineering जो streams as optional, that can also be, they also qualify. So people qualify from all those different subjects. This qualify होने के लिए आपको एक सीट चाहिए. आप 10 लोगों का सीट लेके थोड़े qualify करोगे, isn't it? You have to make your seat. This is how it is, but not by dropping others like 3 idiots, isn't it? This so self-belief, it is important. Then comes what you say that ki GS, and certainly it has lots of benefits. Hardly any optional can have benefits in GS as much as public administration. Why? Simply because you are going to work for administration, and it is a subject which deals with administration. No any other subject deals with administration as much as public administration deals. This so that is why some people say कि futuristic plan, isn't it? कि in future also it will help. So that can be a factor. So that is how let's see if you talk. Entire orientation of your ethics paper is administration type. This many a time we say ethics paper as fourth paper of public administration and polity as third paper of public administration. So basically you are not preparing for two papers, you are preparing for four papers. This that's how it has lots of overlapping. This. But before we go in GS, let's say that unless you have these things, it will be difficult to carry forward. This because subject will start. किसी ने बोला syllabus is very short, isn't it? So yes, it is no doubt. Relatively, it is moderate type. If you take PSIR, it has a very lengthy syllabus. History also, I guess, it has a very lengthy syllabus. So that way we can consider. So that is how we can consider. Other factors, let's say, it depends, it trend, this and that. So they are not as important. Largely, let's say the three factors are going to work. This. Then before we again start, let's know your academic background, what you have studied at graduation level. So we'll start. BSc Mathematics. Yes.
Computer science
Computer science
engineering.
engineering. Also, you tell your state because I get idea we are quite diverse people. So I get idea that who belongs to which state.
Amravati, Maharashtra.
Maharashtra,
Nasik, Maharashtra.
Maharashtra,
Haryana.
हरियाणा.
Ranchi, Jharkhand.
तो ये तो बहुत ही पैराडॉक्स है.
I live in Haryana. I'm from Punjab.
राइट. हरियाणा के लोग से डर लगता है वैसे. राइट. यस. यूपी. यस. एकेडमिक्स.
Masters in Rural Development. Bachelor of Science.
बैचलर ऑफ साइंस.
Economics honors.
इकोनॉमिक्स.
program.
BA प्रोग्राम.
Electrical engineering.
Electrical engineering. Right. No, we'll start again. University also you tell. Three things you tell. Your academics, university and state.
Sant Gargi Baba University Amravati.
अमरावती.
Pune University.
पुणे यूनिवर्सिटी.
Delhi
दिल्ली
University.
यूनिवर्सिटी. DU वालों को जानना जरूरी है.
Sanjeev, Ranchi.
रांची. यस.
Aligarh Muslim
अलीगढ़
University.
मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी.
Uttarakhand
उत्तराखंड.
Open University. JNT Hyderabad.
Yes. Two other things also.
Vishal
And academic.
Electrical Engineering.
Right. Electrical engineering. State. UP.
Sir, BCom Honors. MD University. Haryana.
हरियाणा.
Bachelor of Arts, Siddharth University, UP.
यूपी.
Electronic engineering, IT Kharagpur, Bihar.
IT खड़गपुर बिहार. यस. चलो.
Bachelor's in Architecture from University of Mumbai.
हम्म.
I'm from Chhattisgarh.
छत्तीसगढ़.
Sir, Indian University,
उड़ीसा.
Political Science, Bihar.
पॉलिटिकल साइंस बिहार.
I'm from Nagpur and pursued BTech in Civil Engineering from Government University of Aurangabad. Chhattisgarh.
छत्तीसगढ़.
Delhi University, BA program.
दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी. राजस्थान. राजस्थान के लोग तो और ऊंचे बोलते हैं थोड़ा. आप ऊंचा बोलो. यस.
Bachelor's in Public Administration,
इग्नू. स्टेट. दिल्ली. दिल्ली के लोग तो कैसे मिल गया है इसका तैयारी करने का आइडिया.
Actually, I belong to
अच्छा, यू बिलोंग टू यूपी. यस. नहीं, वैसे दिल्ली के लोग प्रिपेयर करते हैं, आप हर्ट मत होना. यस. पौंडीचेरी. यस. यूनिवर्सिटी पौंडीचेरी. एकेडमी बीकॉम. रांची यूनिवर्सिटी.
studied for engineering in IT from Chhattisgarh. I belong to Chhattisgarh, currently living in Haryana.
currently living in Haryana.
So BSc Physics from Banaras and from DU.
From DU.
Sir, history was from Tamil Nadu.
State.
Bihar.
Bihar.
Electronics and Communication Engineering.
Karnataka.
Economic honors from Delhi University.
Bihar.
Sir, political science honors from BU. And currently I'm pursuing MA in Public Administration. And I'm from
Punjab.
Punjab. BSc Agriculture from BSc Agriculture,
Maharashtra,
BSc Maths from MIT University,
UP,
so Mechanical Engineering from Nagar University, Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu.
Civil Engineering from UP and then IIT Lab.
Yes,
So BSc Maths, University, Haryana.
Haryana. You belong to Haryana also. Hmm.
Sir, do you want a geography from views? I belong from UP.
UP.
Sir, I'm from Tamil Nadu and I finished my master's in public administration.
Hmm. Punjab University.
So Master in Political Administration, Jammu and Kashmir,
State
Rajasthan.
Rajasthan. Yes.
Bachelor of Computer Science from Rajinder University.
Yes.
Bachelor of Computer Science in Rajinder University. I'm from Andhra.
From
Andhra Pradesh.
Andhra Pradesh. Yes, I was waiting for that. कोई आंध्रा से नहीं है अभी. Yes. So at least let's say we have from Andhra Pradesh. Yes.
All Science Honors from Delhi University and second UP.
UP. Yes.
ये प्रोग्राम तिवारी यूनिवर्सिटी मध्य प्रदेश.
चलो MP से भी है. Yes.
Bachelor's of Arts. Bachelor of Arts. D.
DU.
D District Firozabad.
तो DU वाले लोग काफ़ी डोमिनेट करते हैं हमेशा. यस, आजकल डोमिनेट करते हैं. बिहार. यस.
BSc Physics have to.
Yes, we have done. So basically, let's say that it is about getting idea that ki academics, a bit of, you can also get ideas. People have all diverse background. It is also that ki all diverse states, let's say, it helps me somehow in, let's say that ki teasing you, sorry to say that. So each state we have a bit of stereotyping, isn't it? जैसे हरियाणा के लोगों से डर लगता है, right? This, so that is how, let's say, it gives idea. So we are all from, let's say, different states. I think Kerala से कोई नहीं है. This, no, Telangana, Kerala, like this. Madhya Pradesh से, let's say, कि only one person this time we have. Academically DU के लोग होते हैं जैसे largely nowadays. In past, university wise DU and academics wise engineers. No, science background engineers. That is how the tempo of the class, you can say. This. So it does not matter, let's say, which academic background you have. This. Henceforth, simply because, let's say, yes, it gives you confidence, whatever the academic background you have, it gives you confidence. This, if you have done something in your academics, so that gives you confidence that you can do also in UPSC. That is the relevance of your academics. This, but again, that unless you apply efforts in this, the way UPSC has its own demands, so academics don't matter. In UPSC, ordinary students do better. Many a time, extraordinary students fail to do better. That does not mean that extraordinary students should become first ordinary. This, there are people who are extraordinary, they qualify. But there are ordinary people also, students also, they also qualify. UPSC is very inclusive institution. And it is very simple institution. This you should know that. That's why it allows in 22 languages. You can write your papers in 22 languages, which no any body like this in the world has that kind of diversity. Although you choose to write largely in English medium. But it can allow you to write your mains examination in 22 languages. You may decide to write public administration in Sanskrit medium. Isn't it? वैसे भी हम कल्चर को काफ़ी प्रमोट कर रहे हैं. This, so you can choose to write, and you can be the only person writing public administration in Sanskrit, isn't it? The only challenge is you have to learn Sanskrit to write public administration. There is 100% possibility of selection. This, because there is one examiner, one copy. He will check one question. He will go to Chandni Chowk. No, take and enjoy the sight of Chandni Chowk, isn't it? Anyhow, this is what it is. So it is very diverse, inclusive. So we need to have a positive approach on this. So then we'll go to the next stage. Next stage is basically, let's give. In the first class, we try to help you understand what is public administration, the discipline or the subject that we have opted. So we just explain it. So let's that why we have subject like public administration, this, and what is its role, this. So why this subject, what is its role? This, then we'll talk about this other formalities, isn't it? Sources of reading, how you should read, how you should prepare, how you should approach. Generally happens in the first class. This. So, but it is important to know that why we have this discipline called public administration. This. So, or when we use the term, let's say public administration, so certainly, let's say that it may not be in usage in past, you can consider. It may not be in practice in past, you can say. Let's say ancient time, medieval time, when we started talking about public administration. This as a subject, let's say subject means discipline. Whether you speak subject or you say as discipline, it means the same thing. So I guess you can relate what is subject. Subject like sociology is a subject, anthropology is a subject. Or we also say it as discipline. So political science is a discipline or a subject that you have studied. This. So this subject, let's say, so originally if you talk, so there was subject called philosophy. Philosophy is mother of all subjects. That is how we say that. All subjects have evolved out of philosophy. This, the even PSIR that you have studied, other subjects, even your science subjects have also evolved out of philosophy. This, but we will not go into origin of talking all these things, just to tell it. So when public administration also as a subject came into existence, this, so it came into existence in 1887. This, the public administration as a subject is not very old. This, you can calculate how many years it is. 1887 and 2025. How many years? 130. 138. This. So that is how you'll find that it is just over 100 years old subject. This, and you know that who found it? You are familiar with that? So Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson found that, this subject. So why he found it? कुछ तो होगा, isn't it? Why he found this subject? That is the big question, or in fact the biggest question. Yes, no. Are you aware why he found it? Why he found? Yes. Yes. He found so that we can run government efficiently. Right? Why it was found? to run government efficiently. This to run government efficiently. So does it mean we are not running government efficiently? Yes, we are not running. Are you satisfied with the government efficiency? What do you think? Right. So you know it better. I don't have to. Right. We have still a lot of time to speak later on, but you know it better that how efficient we are. Isn't it? Certainly we have improved. The run government efficient. Right? Why we need to run government efficiently? That is again question. This he found a subject to run government efficiently. How subject can help run government efficiently? This is a question. How public administration as a subject can help run government efficiently. How it can help? ये तो हम लोग 6 महीने तक बात करेंगे. तो इतना आसान नहीं है, isn't it? But you can talk in one line. So subject, let's say how subject can help run government efficiently. It means, let's say that to run government efficiently is very challenging. Running government efficiently is very challenging. It is very challenging. क्यों? क्यों चैलेंजिंग है? तो आपने देखा होगा इस प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट को 10 साल से और पास्ट गवर्नमेंट को 60 ईयर से भी देखा होगा आपने, isn't it? तो आपका अपना व्यू होगा उसके बारे में. You may have your views on that. But since present government we have in let's say last 10 years, we talk largely about present government. No, we will not talk about Nehru. We will talk you a bit later on. Right. Anyhow, so because in politics it is said that Nehru is responsible for everything, isn't it? So the question is that running government. So see, government ने बहुत सारे promise किया है. Government ने promise किया कि we will make farm income double by 2022. Isn't it? We are in 2025. तो हो गया double? क्या triple हो गया? This. So that is how you know that the governments go on promising that कि they will make the farm income double. इसी तरह से बहुत और भी सारा promise होगा. This. So we have lots of promises, right? Let me share one promise. So we promise this in 1968 or 64, yes. The 1968 first education policy, it was first education policy on recommendation of Kothari committee. And we promised that we will spend 6% of GDP. It can be 64, 68, year can be here and there. It promised that we will have 6% of GDP on education. We would spend 6% of GDP on education. थोड़ा बड़ा तो GS आता होगा आपको? No. You will be familiar with this all subjects, isn't it? This, we hope you are familiar, or not, so later on you will become familiar. So 6% of GDP we promised, right? Then we have National Education Policy 2020. And what it says? We want to spend 6% of GDP on education. No? So, since there is generational gap that you don't belong to 1968. तो we do not know कैसा promise past में हुआ था. 2-4 लोगों को पता होगा उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है. तो you will say, wow, it's good policy. No, government is going to spend 6% of GDP. Right. But a promise which was made in 1968 has not yet been fulfilled. This we spend still over 4% of GDP on education, which is also less than the world average. This anyhow will not go into right. First class में critic बनना ठीक नहीं है. So the question is this, let's say, so this running government efficiently is very challenging. This not only Indian government, Wilson तो अमेरिका से belong करते हैं. This the running any government is very challenging, very you know that it is not easy task that you can run government. This then this house subject will help, that will come, we'll talk a bit later on. The question is why we want to run government efficiently. हम ये क्यों करना चाहते? Why we want to run government efficiently? No. Why we want to run government efficiently?
They have limited resources.
Maximum utility. It basically takes you to so many basic aspects to serve the people, right? This basically, let's say that we want because we want to serve people. This we have limited resources. This we can say that. Why we want to serve people?
Because at that time in America there was one Quasi. So then Quasi states by the people.
So that brings you to, let's say, further, let's say, going backward, isn't it? So why you want to serve people? Because state, then state comes into picture. No, state was formed to serve people. Right? Modern state came into existence. Why state came into existence? Before that, we did not have state. We had, let's say that ki monarchical system, this authoritarian system, dictatorial system. We may have all different types of systems. But in modern times, this is how state came into existence in modern times. This and that state, let's say, came on the basis of what we say as social contract. This state came into existence on the basis of social contract. Are you familiar? At least PSIR वाले लोग familiar होंगे, isn't it? This, yes? Yes. The social contract, let's say people cannot govern themselves. This is how you should know that. Modern, this is how people came to realize that they cannot govern themselves. This, to govern themselves, they need a separate entity called state. And state should govern on their behalf. So when people, let's say social means people, let's say contract means agreement. That they themselves had a consensus that they should be governed by state as an entity, and that state should serve them. Its objective is to serve people. गवर्नमेंट तो मना भी कर सकती है. नो, मोदी जी बोलेंगे नहीं सर्व करेंगे, जाओ जो करना है करो. Isn't it? तो इसीलिए तो बोलते हैं सबका प्रयास. This anyhow. So the question is that, let's say कि गवर्नमेंट तो मना भी कर सकती है कि why I should serve you. Right? Government can tell that कि we won't want to serve you. This, let's say remember vaccination in COVID crisis. कोर्ट ने क्या बोला? You go for complete free vaccination. तो स्टेट मना कर सकता था कोर्ट को कि नहीं हम नहीं करेंगे कंप्लीटली फ्री, राइट, बट स्टेट क्यों नहीं मना कर सकता? व्हाई स्टेट कैन नॉट से दैट कि नो social contract? This government existence is on the basis of social contract. This, what is social contract? People have elected the government for 5 years. This is a contract between government and people, and then government has come to power to serve people. This, that is the, let's say, main aspect when you say social contract. Philosophers etc. will talk later on. It will come again, let's say that. Okay? So that is called social contract, state existence. Then let's say people have also defined what is a state. A state has 4 constituent elements, isn't it? What we say this? Sovereignty, territory and citizens and government. This, that is how the state is a sovereign entity, independent entity. It has its territory and then citizen and government. That is how the relationship. Now, state, let's say that. We'll come to this later on. Let's come to this. The people formed state. People formed state so that the state can serve people. Then the question is how state can serve? How state can serve? This, how state can serve this. So then the idea came that state can serve if state is democratic. This democracy is the worst form of government, but among all options it is the best form of government. Right? Winston Churchill. This you should know that. So anyhow, we'll talk all these things later on, keep talking. So basically that's why you have most of the states have become democratic state. In that democratic state, किसी ने बोला पॉलिटी में इंटरेस्ट है, isn't it? So in that democratic state, you will have different types of democracy. Right? We have, let's say that ki parliamentary democracy. There can be presidential form of government. This, there can be mixed type, which will talk the polity part later on. This is called that ki then they started talking ki states should have a system of government. States should have a system of government. This, how state can serve? This, how state can serve? State will have to do something. State should have a system. This, to serve people. In that system, first should be that a system of government. Because what we have? Government. So what should be the relationship between citizen and government? The relationship should be democratic. This, that is how you'll find this. It should be democratic relationship. So there can be a system of government. Then we have this system of government. This is how. So this is called system of government. Then someone told कि वो policy बनाना चाहते हैं, isn't it? But policy making is the role of government. No. और किसी ने बोला कि policy execute करना है. That is the role of administration. Right? Administration can help in policy formulation. Anyhow, but system of government, so we have system of government. This, the state has a system of government. Let's say कि we have as of now, or let's say that कि Modi ji government. But do you think that the government can serve itself again? Government क्या करती है? You may have observed, right? The government makes policies. Government takes policy decisions. Right? Do you think government implements policies? Right. Do you think ministers implement policies? Government implements policies? No. For that, what do we have? Bureaucracy, let's say that, or you have this administration, we can say this. So we have administration. This. So there should be a system of government, and then there should be a system of administration. This, and then let's say that ki people. This. So this system of government exercises control over administration, and then it serves people. This is the relationship. This. So if you take, let's say that if you write here, we have a state, we have government, we have administration, we have people. This. And there will be a pattern of relationship, there will be a system of relationship. What system of relationship? So let me tell you that you think that you will do this and that. No. इसलिए तो आप प्रिपेयर करना चाहते हो, पावर एक बार आ जाने दो, फिर मैं बताता हूँ, 2-4 लोगों को फोड़ के आऊँगा, isn't it? This. So जिस दिन पावर आ जाएगा आप हैंडीकैप हो जाओगे, उसके पहले ही ठीक था. Now you are free person, but when power comes, responsibility comes, accountability comes, isn't it? This. So that way you can say anyhow. So you have to understand your role that so government cannot serve people itself. This you have to know that. To serve government, government needs means, instrument. This. So that is, let's say, can considered as means, or we say also instrument. This. The administration is the medium through which government serve people. Right? This. Administration is the medium through which government serves people. This. So people, yes, online people were also responding, Karnataka and this and that. कोई तेलंगाना से है तो अभी लिख. Anyhow, so the question is that government, you are going to be the medium to serve people, isn't it? You are going to be medium to serve people. So there is a popular saying. This. What is that popular saying? A policy is as good as it is implemented. This. A policy is as good policy is as good as it is implemented. We will talk in our last class also. That will be public policy chapter. Right? We teach that as last chapter. So let's take that policy is as good as it is implemented. This. Implemented. And which institution is implemented? Administration. This. Why say a policy is as good as implemented? This policy, its, let's say, goodness depends on implementation. No. If policy is good in itself, it does not result into its goodness. Can we say this? देखो, गवर्नमेंट तो प्रॉमिस कुछ भी करती है, isn't it? गवर्नमेंट तो ये भी प्रॉमिस करती है कि मार्स भी हम यहीं लेके रख देंगे आपके पास. नो, गवर्नमेंट ने ये भी बोला है कि हमने मून पर घर बना लिया है, आप बुकिंग कर सकते हैं. This is how it is. So the question is that the government goes on promising so many things. How it will implement this? The implementation is challenge. You can see there are so many programs, schemes, policies that government has. Let's take even education policy 2020. This, if you read education policy 1/2020, उसके पहले भी हमारे पास law है. We have Right to Education Act 2009. What it promises? Education for all. जहाँ भी for all आता है वहाँ पे none लगा दो. This, isn't it? So education for all. Do you have education for all? No. Have you seen any improvement in level of education? You have seen improvement in level of education? देखो बाय डिफॉल्ट भी इम्प्रूवमेंट तो होगा ही, ऐसा नहीं है. This, but let's say कि you say education for all and it is Right to Education Act 2009. What are the changes after 2009 when you have Right to Education Act? Yes, compulsory education. This, we have, you have compulsory education, but compulsory education के लिए क्या होना चाहिए? What you need to have for compulsory education? You need first schools, then they should have basic infrastructure, then they should have teachers and students, isn't it? So you may have schools, but generally let's say कि teachers are not there, and if there are teachers, students are not there, isn't it? And if both are there, so teaching is not there, isn't it? This anyhow, we will talk it all these things later on. What we are trying to say is that implementation is very challenging. This policy making is not as challenging as implementation. This, and that implementation is done by administration, not since Wilson time, since time immemorial you can consider. When the idea of governance came, when the idea of serving people came, the idea of administration came. It can be in any form. This, because without any means you can consider, or let's say instrument, you cannot deliver anything. State cannot deliver, even kings, they could not perform. This, to perform even Kautilya, you have ancient time, you have Arthashastra and Mauryan administration. This, and Mauryan administration was established very efficient administration. In fact, Kautilya also wanted to establish an efficient administrative system. This, so that time also it was the concern. Today it is also the concern. In 1887 also was the concern. Ki how to run government efficiently. This. So that is how you have to understand this, that ki running government is very challenging. Why it is very challenging? Why governments are promising but governments are not able to implement? तो आपने तो ऑब्जर्व किया होगा, isn't it? इसलिए तो आप एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर बनना चाहते हो. कुछ ना कुछ आपके माइंड में आइडिया आया होगा कि आप भी कुछ करोगे, isn't it? This. So in your observation, why governments are not able to, let's say, fulfill the promises they make? This corruption. Lacks in proper implementation. Yes. Efficiency problem. Lack of resources. Not good administration. This. Yes, so what you are saying is that challenge, it is the two: corruption, then lack of efficiency, Yes, they are not well trained. This and then resources. This accountability itself it will come in this. That is how I can say this. It means, let's say that there are problems at administration level. There are also problems at policy level, but there are problems at administration level. This so administration, let's say, has to serve to people. This how it can serve better if administration itself is first efficient. This let's say that this administration as an institution, when you say this administration as an institution, it is an institution you are going to join. No, it is a system that you are going to join. So this administration as an institution itself should be efficient. How it can become efficient? This it should be organized, structured in certain fashion. This so as an institution itself, this let's say you want to guide someone in civil service preparation. How you can guide? First you should have yourself knowledge, then you can guide. This similarly, if administration as an institution is trying to serve to people, the first it should itself be efficient institution. Efficient, let's say, brings so many things: its structure, its process, its techniques, its behavior. All these things will come. This basically here it comes organized, structure, process, and behavior. No, you recruit efficient people. UPSC does it, but 5 साल के बाद क्या होता है? 5 साल भी लंबा हो गया आजकल, isn't it? हालांकि पहले क्लास में नहीं बोलना चाहिए, but let's say that कि we cannot stop talking all these things, isn't it? तो मान लो UPSC आपने काफ़ी प्रिपेयर किया इधर और राजेंद्र में. No, you qualify this, you have a good academic background, आपको ट्रेनिंग भी दिया गया 1.5 years. दिस प्राइम मिनिस्टर भी आपसे बात किए थे कि सुधर जाना, isn't it? फिर पता चला कि no, caught in asking 5% of tender price. This isn't it? रिसेंटली किसको पकड़ा गया था? यस, अभिषेक नाम याद रखो आप. ऐसे ही मतलब सिमिलर नेम्स अभिषेक से ही आते हैं. अभिषेक नेम इज वेरी इनफेमस, राइट? एनीहाउ, बट आपका किसी का नाम होगा तो आप परेशान मत होना. डोंट फील बैड, isn't it? You can change also. Right. तो अभिषेक प्रकाश, yes, Abhishek Prakash in Uttar Pradesh, and he demanded 5% of the tender money. That happens to be, I think, 300-400 crores. It is around this. हालांकि वो कम है, मांगना था तो मांगते, अब थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही मांग लो, isn't it? करप्शन हो भी तो अच्छे से हो. Right. This. So he was suspended. In past also there were allegations. By the way, his academic background is very sound. He is also BTech from Kharagpur. That way you should know that. Anyhow, so it is called behavior. Behavior is one important factor. This you should know that. So this structure process, it means that the institution that you are going to serve, that institution should be organized, structured, and then those people who are in that institution, they should be skilled, knowledgeable, and they should be also accountable. They should have proper conduct. Then administration can be considered, this institution can be considered efficient. This, when you say efficient institution, so that is how, let's say, we can consider. You may have experienced many organizations, it's banks, it's railways, it's metros. Which institution you find most efficient in our country? In public sector? None of them. This, we do not have efficient institutions. Defense, armed forces. But armed forces are not civilian institutions. ISRO, yes. ISRO is efficient institution, or the most efficient institution in our country if you have, right? Anyhow, so someone is writing UPSC. Right. Yes. So the question is that RBI, yes, RBI is also one good institution. This metros also to some extent they are efficient. This you can consider. There are institutions which are efficient. By the way, which institutions are highly inefficient? Right. So, right. Right. So all public institutions which are largely working at local level, someone is writing police, revenue, etc. Let's say that at local level, those institutions which you encounter on day-to-day basis, they lack efficiency. That is how it is. Anyhow, so what we come to know is that this administration can serve to people if it is this institution is efficient. This, and that is how, let's say that to make this institution efficient, we need to know how to make this institution efficient. This, we need to know how to make this institution efficient. How to make this institution efficient? Like you will be asked, isn't it? How to address corruption? No, तो we can surrender because ये तो कभी address ही नहीं हो सकता. No, can we be pessimistic? Not necessarily. Anyhow, so we have to know how to, let's say, tackle corruption. This, and continuously you'll have to apply lots of tools, techniques, this, that to tackle corruption, isn't it? This, that is one. Same thing, efficiency, let's say that. How to improve efficiency? First, we have to know the problems of efficiency, causes of efficiency, why we lack efficiency, why SBI lacks efficiency, why railways lack efficiency, isn't it? So you have to know all these things. So that is how this aspect you can say. Then resource you cannot increase, although yes, we try to increase resources, but basically we focus on how to have optimal utilization of resources, and optimal utilization of resources also depend on efficiency. So everything boils down to efficiency. This means state cannot serve people unless state is efficient. And if state wants to become efficient, it should make its policy making system of government efficient. But that is the task of political science. Right? Political science deals how to improve system of government. We deal partially about system of government in paper second. That's why you have union government, state government, local governments. This, so we partially deal. But if you talk a discipline for system of government, it is PSIR, which is primarily concerned that how system of government you can understand and how you can improve this. But we are talking about system of administration. This, and that is how there is a discipline called public administration, to help system of administration to achieve efficiency. Means how a system of administration can be improved by a subject. This. So public administration as a subject will talk about system of administration. This. How to run government efficiently means how to run administration efficiently. Because if you are able to run administration efficiently, government will also be efficient. This. There cannot be good administration, bad politics. Right? There can be good politics, good administration. If there is bad politics, there cannot be good administration. If government is not able to run administration efficiently, the problem lies in the government itself. This, but that will not be the concern of public administrators. नहीं तो आपको तो राहुल गांधी बनना चाहिए, isn't it? Means you should have joined politics. This, you want to become administrator. This, that is how. So what we are going to tell or what we were saying in beginning, this is how the link you can find. Let's take that what we were saying, this system of government, this, and it has challenges. Somewhere we may have written this. So how to run government efficiently, this is how, and run, yes. There is challenge to run government efficiently. This, that challenge was for the first time very systematically highlighted by Woodrow Wilson. There may be other thinkers, people who may have highlighted it, but no one highlighted as clearly, as forcefully as Woodrow Wilson. He very clearly stated that how it was challenging to run constitution, means run government. This. So public administration, this is what we have, that how public administration as a subject can help. Public administration as a subject can help by giving, let's say that know-how. What will it is? This. Public administration means subject helps. Before I ask this subject, by the way, what are the role, means ki, why do we have different subjects? क्या role होता है उनका? Physics क्या करता है? Any science background student? Cause of? Laws of nature. It explains laws of nature. So when it explains laws of nature, so what we, let's say, get out of that? Yes, so when we understand it, that how does it help in our life, society? You should know that in nutshell, all subjects aim at making society better. This is all subjects in nutshell, you can say. So they aim at making society better, making our life better, basically reducing our efforts. No, this, the sociology, if you have studied, sociology also help you study about society. When we study about society, so we know about society. When you know about society, so you can take better decisions. Similarly, when you have psychology, so you know about human, let's say, psychology, individual behavior, you know. When you know individual behavior, you can help in taking better decisions. Same thing, biology, etc., whatever the subjects you have. This, similarly, let's say this is a subject which will help about administration, that how we told three things about administration or institution: structure, process, and behavior. This, any administration if you have, so it has three things: structure, process and behavior. This structure is about hierarchical system. Process is about techniques that you apply, and behavior is that the interactional part which you apply to execute your task, right? Like say if you go in bank, in bank when the desk you go there is a hierarchy. No, there would be hierarchical system which employee you have to go and then his higher. This is how it goes like this. So that is organization structure, right? Then the way they execute your work, there is a process. This there is process to execute. You have to fill up some forms, isn't it? Or you may use, let's say, any connection. That way you have Google Pay, Phone Pay, isn't it? All these things nowadays, demand draft, etc. So there is a process of execution of work, and how he behaves. No, isn't it? Does he have good behavior? You know already. So this is what you can consider, let's say, the behavior part. This, and if we are able to, let's say, understand what are the problems at structure level, process level, and behavior level. So if you understand the problems, we can improve those. We can overcome on those problems. That is how the role of public administration as a subject. This. So especially this subject will help improve efficiency of administration. It will help in improving efficiency. This, and that is how the discipline, public administration as a discipline. This is how the subject, in brief aspect, you can consider. Which hope ki you are able to connect, understand. Are you able to connect what we are saying? These are very basic thing. Even if suppose you do not connect, so many a time public administration people understand after qualifying this examination. So don't worry about this. Isn't it? This is how I say that. Or many a time people start understanding public administration when they go to training center. Isn't it? So वहाँ से वो फ़ोन करते हैं कि अब समझ में आ रहा है सर आप जो बता रहे थे. This. तो we expect कि 100% आप नहीं समझोगे. If you are understanding, it is good. If you are not understanding, it is not a problem. This anyhow, but still this is how the basic aspect. So we started with state. This why we should run government efficiently. So any government today has a moral obligation to serve people. Government has, let's say, it has come into existence to serve people. Business sector has come into existence to earn profit, but government has come into existence to serve people. Government cannot serve itself unless it has an instrument. That instrument is called administration in any country, be it monarchical, democratic, any country, let's say that. It cannot serve unless it has instrument called administration, and that administration itself should be efficient. Since let's say that today's society, modern society is complex, so you need to have a specialized discipline to help running that administration efficiently. Till let's say modern times, this need was not felt because problems of administration were not very complex. They were not very challenging. But today problems are very complex. In fact, 100 years back it was realized that problems were very complex. Like if you are asked to address problems of corruption, then you will not be able to address. No. You will feel perplexed how to address problems of corruption. Is it like that? So once in an interview, it was asked to one candidate that suppose your superior is corrupt, so what you will do? Right. He says that ki, I would report to, right, so means ki superior above him or his superior. Then they say ki if that person is also corrupt, he says that ki superior to that person I would report. Then finally matter reaches to the head of the department. And if head of the department is also corrupt, what you would do? Right. He said I would resign. Right. He was also engineer by the way, appearing in UPSC interview. वो बच्चा प्रेशर में आ गया, isn't it? This. So the question is that कि subject, right, addressing problem of corruption will be very challenging because causes of corruption are so many. This, there are so many causes of corruption. Similarly, efficiency, let's say that efficiency, you can say that SBI is not efficient, but it is the richest bank, biggest bank. क्यों नहीं improve कर लेते हो? This, यार पैसे की तो कमी नहीं है SBI में, isn't it? But still they are not able. They are trying to improve, but always there is a lag. Always there is lag. This is how we'll talk this. It is called administrative lag. This administrative lag you will find in society. Why? You should know this. This is pace of change in society. Sorry, this is pace of change in society. This is pace of change in administration. Administration pace of change is always slower than pace of change in society. तो ये डेफिसिट तो हमेशा रहेगा, right? This is the challenge. So there are so many, let's say that things to understand, let's relate. Let me just give you example. So till recently we used to talk, let's say that there was digital divide, isn't it? तो डिजिटल डिवाइड को कम करने के लिए हमने क्या किया था? टिल रिसेंटली मीन्स टिल कोविड टाइम, बिफोर कोविड टाइम, लेट्स से दिस. The before COVID time or before AI etc., as you will know that, before fourth industrial revolution, so we used to talk that कि we need to bring computers in schools, government schools, isn't it? Computers, अभी भी वहाँ computers नहीं है. This is how. So we wanted to reduce digital divide by bringing computers, and we did not bring computers. Right, which I generally say in my sarcastic way, isn't it? So the schools, public schools which may have computers, they may have 1, 2, 3 computers. और वो computers बच्चों को पढ़ाने के लिए नहीं होता है. The computers, I say in my way that these are, they are kept in a room which I say as bride room. And students are given glimpses of bride. Right, this is how. वो उसके डोर स्टेप से देखो कंप्यूटर ऐसे होता है. This, that is what you should know that. So computers you wanted to bring, and then by the time came fourth industrial revolution. And it demands a digitalized class, not computers. Right. It demands digitalized class, not computers. It demands digitalized board, isn't it? But school का wall support ही नहीं करेगा. This. So that is how, let's say, pace of change. This. So already we were trying to reduce digital divide. Now this fourth industrial revolution came, and it has put us in a very challenging position. This. So that is how you will know that there is lag, and because of this lag, this is how it happens. The role of the subject is to minimize this lag. That's why we need expertise. We need academicians. We need theoretical developments. Those theoretical developments should help in solving our complex problems. We can solve our problems by common senses, but we can solve only those problems which are simple problems by your own knowledge. But to solve complex problems, you need theories, you need principles, you need law. This. And that is how there is a subject which will try to formulate all these things. Right. And that is how this subject was evolved by Woodrow Wilson. And that was realization 100 years back. This again I will repeat this, that if you take before 1887, so situation was not that complex. The relationship between state, government, citizen, let's say, it was not that complex. In fact, till medieval time, the concern of the state was not welfare, not social justice. This, not that humans should realize fullest potential, which is promised in your constitution. This, it was a negative state, it was a police state, you should know that. It was a monarchical state, dictatorial state. But when modern times welfare state came into existence, so that state promised to people that we will deliver you welfare. When it promised welfare, so then it had concern how it can improve its that delivery of welfare. And that concern gave rise to this subject called public administration. And that is how, let's say, that Woodrow Wilson raised this in his essay, The Study of Administration. And that time he told that it was getting harder to run a constitution than to frame one. He told that time it was getting harder to run a constitution than to frame one. This. So, getting harder to run a constitution than to frame one. Framing constitution is not as challenging as running constitution. We have also constitution framed 70 years back, but have we fulfilled the promises under constitution? This. So that was the concern. That is how public administration. This. So when public administration term that we use, see, it does not mean only subject. This. Public administration. Public is basically, let's say that this public is called government. Administration is called management of affairs. Basically, it is nothing but management of public affairs. This, it is called management of public affairs. Management of public affairs, nothing but, another way you can tell, running government efficiently. Running government efficiently. The public administration is nothing but also government administration. This. But this government administration is like institution. It is like institution. This. And it is also a subject, discipline, this, and it is also one activity. Basically, we want to tell what exactly, when we use the term public administration, it means three things. Right. First, public administration is institution that you are going to join. Public administration is institution you are going to join. This. Second is that public administration is a subject you are going to study. Right? It is a subject that you are going to study. And it is activity you are going to perform. No. Public administration is also activity. Your role, your function you can consider. You have to administer people. The public administration is also activity, let's say that. So this term has three meanings. When you say public administration, so it has three meanings. One, that it is an institution. Second is that it is discipline. And third is that it is activity. This, as an institution, it is the operational part. Again, let's say this. If you have a state, it has two sides, political side and it has this is called operational side. Operational side. This is called policy side. What is operational? So, public administration or administration operationalizes the state. It runs the state, let's. It runs the state. No, तो कभी कभी आप बोलते हैं ना कि सरकार कौन चला रहा है? Right, अंबानी साहब. Anyhow, तो सरकार कौन चला रहा है? Bureaucrats. No, after all, bureaucrats run the government. Isn't it? That is how you think. When bureaucrats run the government, that is how they are operationalizing. Right. So this is called operational part. The state has political side which takes decision. The state has operational side which, let's say that ki, runs government. So this operational side, we say it is an institution of a state. It is institution of the public administration is institution. This, and it is as an institution, it will be as old as society because it existed during Kautilya time also. This, that is what we can say. This, now to operationalize, let's say this, since it is challenging, running state is challenging. This, when it is challenging, so you have established public administration also as a subject. This, so public administration is also a subject. It is also institution. And when you join this institution of a state, what activity you perform? The activity you perform is also called administration. This, that is what it is. So at this stage, when we talk public administration, we are talking in general way, layman's way, let's say today, not formal way we are defining, just to tell you that what public administration is, the term or the subject that we have, the public administration. It is not only subject, it is also institution which you are going to join, and the activity you will perform will be also known as public administration. This. So, coming back to giving further, let's say, advancing our talk. So, when we say public administration and it is a subject or discipline, and then we told that ki administration has three things: structure, process, and behavior. This. So when Woodrow Wilson found this subject in 1887, his aim was that it will help in running administration efficiently. This, how it will help in running administration efficiently? This discipline should go on building theories and principles. Theories and principles. This. And these theories and principles will be utilized by administration as an institution. This administration as an institution. We are talking after 130 years. Imagine, let's say, or go back to 130 years. Let's go back to 130 years and just imagine ki whether that time there were organizations organized with proper hierarchy, proper structure, proper tools and techniques, and proper, let's say that ki skilled, knowledgeable, all these things, human resource working for that. This, so still you go in any organization, you can find some flaws in its structure. You can find flaws in its hierarchy. You can find flaws in its process. This, and certainly you can find flaws in behavior. So think that ki when organizations started having proper hierarchy, and who would be the person who gave first that what should be the proper hierarchy of the organization? This, who will talk about the best tools and techniques, let's say efficient tools and techniques? Who would talk about behavior? So 130 years back we did not have, we had rule of thumb. People used to work on the basis of rule of, right. Anyhow, let's talk about some other things. अभी भी हमारे देश में बहुत सारे, there are so many, let's say, competitive examinations at state level. How they are conducted? You know it better? No. So do you have merit-based recruitment at state level? Right. So many recruitment scams you can find. Right? बहुत सारे रिक्रूटमेंट स्कैम्स, एंड ऐसा नहीं कि इस बार हो गया स्कैम तो अगली बार हम इम्प्रूव करेंगे. नो, पता चला 10 दिन के बाद फिर से एक और स्कैम हो गया. कई बार तो हैट्रिक हो जाता है. स्कैम्स, isn't it? If you will not recruit people on the basis of merit, can organization achieve efficiency? क्यों? They are not competent. This, how will recruit people on the basis of merit? This, they will keep asking these questions later on. But see, knowledge did not come in holistic way. Knowledge came in incremental way. This, that is how you should know. That is how the subject has evolved. Today you have holistic knowledge because we are talking after 130 years. This, but that time knowledge was not that holistic. Today you have holistic understanding. This structure, process, behavior. But that time, let's say ki how an organization or how administration can be run efficiently. So the idea was that ki you improve its structure and process, not behavior. This idea was to improve its structure and process, not behavior. This, they thought that if we are able to organize and structure organization properly, then that organization would be able to perform efficiently. This, that was, so we are now exposing you to bit of organization theory, public administration as a subject. This, so that was the idea. Let's say many a time you organize in your house so many things. No, bookshelves, this, that, etc. Isn't it? You organize. Basically in our house, kitchen is well organized, isn't it? That is how I can at least experience. So it is well organized. These things are kept in order. And you may go at times in kitchen, so your parents, etc. may tell that Don't disturb that order, isn't it? Why you keep in those things in order? Minimize your efforts. It minimizes your efforts. Do you know automatization? Yes, certainly you will be aware about automatization. So basically, let's say that he did not give any theory. He himself did not give any theory. He just raised the concerns. We need to have a subject. No, this और ऐसा नहीं कि वो प्लेटो जैसा उनके पास कुछ डिसाइपल्स थे. ही रोड थ्रू ऐसे कि देखो हमें थियरीज की जरूरत है. दिस in essay he raised his, let's say, these arguments, and then that arguments were advanced by, let's say, thinkers who can consider the subject. This is how it started growing. So when he told this, that was taken advance. It is called classical approach. You have seen the syllabus? Classical approach. That classical approach will consist of, we have scientific, management, we have classical theory, and we have Max Weber. This Max Weber bureaucracy. That is what we have. So they focus on structure and process. This, it is called one best way of doing work. This is how. You may have also in your mind, I want to study in best way. No, I want to do my work in best way. There are some people who are perfectionist also. Yes. So that way you can consider. So they, let's say that they think, just try to understand, just simply they wanted to automatize human process. When people are working in organization, you have a series of people. Suppose 10 people are working in organization. So what you have to do? You have to organize them, structure them so that they work in order. Let's say Zomato, Swiggy, etc. How they are delivering you, and Blinkit, etc. How they are delivering you in just 7 minutes. They work in a chain. There is a supply chain, isn't it? But that chain has been rationalized. It has been rationalized. And they have studied time and motion, isn't it? How much time it will take to deliver a particular location, how much time it will take to pick up the things, how much time it will take to cook the things, isn't it? They have done that every micro level of study and analysis, and then they have, let's say, brought that predictability that we can deliver all Rajinder Nagar in 7 minutes. No. So what they have done is structure and process. This is how. It is high level of automatization. No. And अगर आपसे कोई बोले कि ये बुक चाहिए तो 7-8 minutes लग जाएगा. No. सोचो आप how they are delivering in 7 minutes. लगता है कि आपके डोर के पीछे ही खड़ा है वो. ऑर्डर दिया और आप पहुंचा. Right. Isn't it? It is called structure and process. This is classical theory basically, which we'll talk in details. So they were saying structure and process, if you improve, you will be able to achieve efficiency. We can see it is efficient delivery. They are delivering very efficiently. This you can consider. That dominated public administration, let's say 1887 to 1930s. 30 years. जो आप 30 minutes और 3 minutes में जान रहे हो, उन्होंने 30 years में किया. Yes. So it took over 30 years to understand this, formulate theories, develop structure, develop process, develop hierarchy. Right. Hierarchy is given by Max Weber. This, so that is how they have talk nitty-gritty details. Right. Now, this is called structure and process. Now, whether behavior matters, behavior भी important है. No, the gig economy, gig workers के क्या behavioral problems है? Do they have behavioral problems? Right. Do they have behavioral problems? Right. We may not be still aware, or so gradually we'll be aware. They also have frustration, depression, stress, this and that. Many problems they have. This, and there is a talk that they should be also treated as labor, and then they should be treated as part of labor codes. They should be treated as employee. They should have benefits of what the labor codes we have. We'll talk to you later on, or you'll understand later on all the things. Let's talk that you may have experience at least of in past, or you may be aware about attritions, right? Attrition, burnout, this, that we can consider. Anyhow, it was realized after, let's say, 30 years that only structure and process would not help in achieving efficiency. Efficiency has also behavioral dimension, right? It has also behavioral dimension. This, how it is. So we give example of, you should know that, let's take that Government of India introduced a centralized biometric system. This centralized biometric system for punctuality of public employees. Generally in our country, public employees, they go late, come early. आपको पता है, जाना ही बहुत बड़ी बात है. This, so public employees, in our country, they think that in past birth they did something great, so that in this birth, let's say once they have got government employment, so they are not supposed to work. Right. This going to office itself is a big thing. हमने बहुत बड़ा काम कर दिया है. This, anyhow, the going late and coming early, this. So biometric system was introduced, punching system, that, so that you come on time and go on time. This is how, and it is a classical approach. Technique is classical approach. So what happened? Do you think people go on time and come on time? No. What they do? नहीं. तो देखो, हमारे देश में जो ऑफिस है उसका कोई कन्फाइन प्रीमाइस तो है नहीं. बहुत सारे ऑफिस में कोई कन्फाइन प्रीमाइस तो है नहीं. दिस एंट्री एंड एग्जिट. दिस, तो बहुत सारे लोगों ने क्या किया, जाके पंच करते हैं और फिर this, many people, they do punching and they do not work. This, you can say that. This is how. So it has improved punctuality, but it has not improved their work commitment related behavior. Professionalism जिसको बोलते हैं, right? So this is how behavioral problem. This. So tools and techniques and structure, they cannot solve your behavioral problem. It is a simple behavioral problem I have told. This, within organization. Organization में और भी बहुत सारा problem होता है. Second, our biggest problem is toxic work culture. Politics in organization. Right? This, and many other things. Right? This. So there are behavioral aspects, and that was realized by 1930s, and that is how you know that Elton Mayo was the thinker. Hawthorne experiments happened. Anyhow, you have human relation theory and behavioral theory. This, So that took us to 1950. And then we had, let's say, theories like we say as behavioral approach. This, so we have classical approach, we have behavioral approach, and then both we talk, इनको हम क्या बोलते हैं also, we say them as organization theory. The heart and mind, the soul of your public administration. Whatever you say. This, the second chapter will be about this. First chapter is how subject has evolved, contemporary developments. Second chapter is soul of your public administration, which will deal about classical approach, behavioral approach, and they will try to tell that ki how structure and process can bring efficiency. This, and then third chapter is about administrative behavior. Motivation भी होना चाहिए, isn't it? That's why let's say कि third chapter is about motivation, leadership, communication, etc. This, but let's take that कि when we have any administration and it is efficient, let's say any administration and it is efficient. Administration as an institution, it is efficient. Can it deliver efficiency? Can it deliver efficiency? Depend on administration, administrator, or whether there are other factors also. देखो, आपको तो रिक्रूट मेरिट बेस पे ही किया गया था, ठीक है, बट वंस पीपल ज्वाइन, तो which things influence them? Which things influence them? Right? So basically this administration exists in a environment. Right? It exists in a society. Environment जिसको बोलते हैं. No. तो वो शुरू हो जाता है अब जैसे ही क्वालिफाई करते हैं. This. तो जब तक आप क्वालिफाई नहीं करते हैं, ऑल राजेंद्र नगर का एनवायरनमेंट आपको इन्फ्लुएंस करता है. दिस, जैसे ही आप क्वालिफाई करते हैं, इंडियन एनवायरनमेंट आपको इन्फ्लुएंस करता है, खासकर नॉर्थ इंडिया. व्हाट, तो आया आपका ऑफर आया, इजंट इट, 100 करोड़ का डाउरी. दिस, isn't it? तो आप IAS बन गए और 100 करोड़ तो कम नहीं है, हमारे देश में बहुत पैसे वाले लोग हैं. बस आप क्या करोगे? Will you refuse? Only fool can do that. This, तो पैसा आ रहा है तो आने दो भाई, लक्ष्मी जी आ रही है जन. दिस इज हाउ हमारे इंडियन भाषा में बोलते हैं उसको. दिस, और भी बहुत सारे पैसे आते हैं अलग अलग तरीके से, जंट इट. द डे आप क्वालिफाई करते हो तो बहुत सारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस आपको, कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस आपको ऑफर करेंगे. बताइए किस लिए, जंट इट. दिस, तो आप उनके प्लेटफॉर्म पे जाके बोलोगे, जंट इट. दिस, जो आजकल आप देखोगे बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स करते हैं, वैसे आप भी करोगे, कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, कोई नई बात नहीं है. आफ्टर ऑल यू हैव इन्वेस्टेड, सो रिटर्न इज कमिंग. राइट. तो बेसिकली मनी स्टार्ट्स कमिंग. मनी भाई गनी भाई में दोनों बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग लिंक है, isn't it? दिस, तो मान लो पैसा आया यहाँ पर, लेट्स एनवायरनमेंट. This is one environment. This, there can be many other factors. This, you will be exposed to environment. अभी आप बहुत ही confined environment में हैं. That is all Rajinder Nagar. It's very, let's say, confined environment. This. So when you are exposed to that environment, right, you will be intrigued by that. This. And how long you will control yourself. This. The day you are fallible, the day you become fallible, you know that. This. There are people who are not fallible. There are people who are fallible. Right? So, Ashok Lavasa, he resigned as election commissioner. This, in fact, two last election commissioners have resigned. When he resigned, he wrote one article called "Honesty Has a Cost." This, you can read that article. This, there was a counter article also. Right, अच्छा है debate. This, forget about new first class में बताना नहीं चाहिए ये सब, but बिना बताए होगा नहीं. Isn't it? तो सुब्बा राव को जानते हो आप? Yes. RBI governor and IAS officer, ex-IAS officer. Right? This. So you know what he has written in article? You can read. Recently he wrote UPSC 20. उसके पहले भी एक article है, अच्छा article है. He has written a book basically. In that book he has given this fact. Right? So let's take that key. Bureaucrats in India. This. So how much percent you can expect they can be competent? He say only 25% bureaucrats are competent. This 50% bureaucrats are complacent and 25% are corrupt. Right? One ex-IAS officer says like that. This. So basically, let's say that कि हुआ क्या? %75%. This. Why it is? You are all bright-minded people, bright mind, good academic background, isn't it? This, what happens once you go to environment? Every year we send hundreds of candidates to environment. This, and in that environment they get absorbed. This. So environment has a very important role. It was realized after 50 years of evolution of subject. This, 50 years of evolution of subject. कि environment also plays important role. So merely if organization is efficient, it will not result into delivery of efficiency unless you bring change in environment it belongs. This, and changing environment is very, very challenging thing. It is easy to bring change here. It is difficult to bring change in, but there are so many factors. This, so many factors. Right. That is the difference between our environment in which we govern and Western countries' environment there we govern. There is difference. That's why a person here, let's say that an ordinary student going to US can do something extraordinary. Right. A bright student here may end up doing something ordinary. This, क्यों? Environment नहीं है. Right. Startup. आपने MBA किया, अगर आपने बिजनेस शुरू किया तो पेरेंट्स आपको सपोर्ट नहीं करेंगे. Isn't it? Sell business. Right. They want you should work in this any company, especially foreign company. This, they will not support you sell business. If you start sell business, people will doubt on you. This, you will struggle all sort of things, different types of clearances, this and that, certification. By the time you get clearance, your energy is lost, idea is lost. isn't it? This, you know that there is one startup Skyroot in a space sector. पैसा ही नहीं है, नहीं, पैसा ही नहीं है. He does not get funds. This, जबकि in our country people are, बहुत पैसे वाले लोग हैं जो आपको 100 करोड़ डाउरी दे सकता है. Isn't it? This environment, complex environment. This, so we have a complex environment. कैसे complex environment है? One more last example. So ये डाउरी कोई सिंपल चीज नहीं है, right? इसका कनेक्शन है. This, and it brings double of your income, isn't it? It is part and parcel of our society. This, so people pay bribe to take job. हमारे देश में लोग, right, 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 30 lakh, depending on the job, they are ready to pay for a job. This, so they can pay 20 lakh, 10 lakh for getting a job, but they don't have confidence that they can start a business by investing 20 lakh. This, why? He will give bribe of 20 lakh so that he gets dowry of 30 lakh. This is the link. And he, let's say he seeks dowry of 30 lakh. ठीक है, वो मनी वैल्यू कुछ भी हो सकता है. And once he join job, वहाँ भी वो डबल करता है. Since he had paid bribe of 20 lakh, he is supposed to earn. तो डाउरी से भी अर्न कर रहा है और जॉब से भी अर्न कर रहा है. And he is not doing anything. He is not doing anything. In our country, it is easy to earn without work. And it is role model. This, हार्ड वर्क का तो रोल मॉडल है ही नहीं कि यू बिकम रिच बाय हार्ड वर्क. नो, दिस बाय मेरिट. दैट इज द कॉम्प्लेक्स एनवायरमेंट. हाउ यू विल ब्रेक इट? अनलेस यू ब्रेक दिस एनवायरमेंट ऑफ, लेट्स से कि लैक ऑफ लिंक बिटवीन वर्क एंड पे. You should get paid as per work, but we are not having that kind of a strong link. That is the complex environment. If you talk one way, that's why you have recruitment scams. This, which has again linked to it so many other factors. So you have to work in this complex environment. This, so you will have to face challenges, not by opting only public administration as an optional. Right. Once you go in job also, so there is challenge. This, and many a time, even if you are efficient, but because of environment, you may not perform. Isn't it? First day, first posting, transfer order. This, and you know about Ashok Khemka. This, and how many times transferred? Now finally he is retired. Right. It is 58 plus around, let's say, 58 around like this. This, so imagine 30 years के career में 58 times transfer. Achievement क्या है? Transfer. Right. So he has not been allowed to work. His, let's say that his, this mind remains unutilized. His potential remains unutilized. This is one factor. There can be several factors which contribute if you talk about environment. This, and that is how they say administration faces complex environment. That's why it is difficult to implement, easy to promise. right? That's why running government is very challenging, and that's why subject remains relevant. As long as running government efficiently remains challenging, so long as public administration will remain relevant subjects. And that is how the discipline. It is a dynamic subject, interesting subject. Right. So when Woodrow Wilson found discipline that time also there was challenge, and today also there is challenge. In fact, today's challenge is much more complex than what his challenge we had that time. Gradually we will be exposed to this, and that is how we can say discipline of public administration as a subject. So what happens, let's say just completed, that was the organization theory. So basically, let's if you say public administration, so public administration as a discipline, it will have organization theory, and that will be, let's say 1900 or this to 1950, this, and then this is first 4 chapters will deal, first let's say 4 chapters, first 4 chapter will deal with this organization theory. If you talk paper 1, which we say as core theory, let's say that this we say as core theory of public administration, this, that way. It is also a way to analyze the subject, this. Then let's say that you have, we started realizing environment part, this. So there will be a, let's say chapter, let's say that called basically chapter 7, this, that chapter 7 is called comparative public administration. Comparative public administration. Comparative public administration will try to bring environmental factor, this environmental factor, this. Then let's say that we have a chapter behavioral part, let's say that people in organization. You have a structure, process, behavior, this. Then talking about people, how people can be recruited at sectors. So let's say that we have personal administration. Let's chapter 9. Chapter 9, personal. Personal means those who are recruited in organization, how they should be recruited, merit-based, because unless you have merit-based recruitment, so there are organizational aspect, how they should be organized, structured, motivated, controlled, supervised, because you have to supervise them. That is how we have personal administration. As a chapter you can consider this. Then there is a chapter called techniques of administrative improvement. This, I guess it is chapter 11, techniques of administrative improvement. So we need techniques also, as we told about tools and techniques. So there is a separate chapter also talking on techniques. This. Then we will have a chapter, I guess, chapter 10, which talks about public policy. Public, because policy is also important. Basically, let's say initially when subject started, so concern was that implementation was more important. This, as we told, a policy is as good as it is implemented. But later on it was also realized that if policy itself is designed bad, it will affect its implementation. That's why new pension scheme, old pension scheme, debate goes on. Policy, let's say, problems can also be at policy making level. There is a separate chapter which talks about how to improve policy itself. Most of the chapters will talk about how to run government, that is implementation part. But there is a chapter which also talks about public policy, about policy decisions. That chapter we teach as last chapter of our class after teaching even paper second. This then let's say that you told that we have limited resources. No, so there should be also proper resource utilization, this resource generation, this the public administration cannot only help in resource management but also resource generation. This and that is how you have a separate chapter called chapter last chapter 12 called financial administration. This financial administration. Now still there are some chapters missing. No, there are some chapters missing in that. This so we told about accountability भी होना चाहिए, conduct, isn't it? There should be accountable. Right. So there should be accountability of administration. For that we have two chapters dealing accountability. One chapter का नाम ही है accountability, accountability and control, and another chapter is called administrative law. This is chapter 6. This is chapter 5. This. Then still there is one chapter missing, I guess, isn't it? So we told that our role is also welfare. What we have to do? We have to do development. So there is a chapter called chapter 7. Sorry, chapter 8. That is called development administration. This no. Sequence we will tell you how we'll cover it. We are trying to relate it, just to tell, so that you can have, let's say, how those chapters are, let's say, given, or what exactly, let's say. The first 4 chapters are talking what we told how organization can achieve efficiency. So the focus will remain within organization, structure, process, behavior. But then the concern, this is how came that environment also has its role. So there is a separate chapter bringing environmental aspect called comparative public administration. Then we have told that people in organization, how you recruit them, that also important. So that is how there is a separate chapter itself called personnel administration. Techniques are important because we execute our work by applying techniques like centralized biometric system. That is how, let's say, techniques you have. You can see how e-governance we have, ICT we have. So that is how a chapter you have. Then policies are also important. There is a separate chapter. Then resource management, resource generation also important. That is called financial administration. Administration should be accountable. So for that you have 2, let's say, chapters dealing with accountability. And then finally, let's say, since role is welfare development, there is a chapter dealing with development administration. This, and they will explain the things in a theoretical fashion. This, basically they are all nothing but, even if you have core theories, they are pure theoretical, but they will be mixed type. They will give you theoretical explanation as well as applied aspect. This, but paper 1 largely we treat as theory, and paper 2 we treat as application. This, so largely we treat paper 1 as theory, paper 2 as application. This, but it is not that in paper 1 you do not have application. There are chapters we have certain application part also. This that way. So this is what paper 1 we can say, means total we have 12 chapters and they are interconnected. They are not in, let's say, vacuum in isolation, let's say. They are all interconnected. And that is how understanding, a better understanding means you understand that interconnections. This, as we told that only an organization which is efficient may not be able to deliver efficiency unless we improve also environment. This, that way. Any one reform cannot solve the problems. This you have to understand. That's why governments promise a lot, but when they come to power, what happens? No, the Kejriwal ji also promise a lot. No. In fact, anti-corruption movement, India against corruption, and once they formed the government, all were arrested in charges of corruption. This, anyhow, so this we can say. Then if you take paper 2nd, so it has 14 chapters total. Yes. Since it is about Indian administration, what we say paper 2nd as Indian administration. This is the application part. What we told? We told that when we talk public administration, say it is institution, it is subject, it is activity. So subject part is paper 1. Activity and institution part, paper 2nd. This. So you have to understand also about Indian administration. This, to understand Indian administration, we can have chapter 1. Chapter 1 is about evolution part. This. And then administration will be guided by a legal framework. This, the chapter 2nd is about this constitutional framework. This, the chapter 2nd is about constitutional framework. This, that you should know that. Then there are chapters, let's say, I will write as per their similarity. There are chapters, we can say, dealing with union, government, state government. This, then you have rural development, means PRIs. We have urban local bodies. We have district administration. This. So this is what you can say as a polity. This. You can have over 5 chapters also, although district administration may not directly be linked to this. But anyhow, since we have written that there are 5 chapters, right, talking about system of government. This. Then we have, let's say, that chapters related to civil services. Civil services, administrative reforms. Administrative reforms. This, that, let's say, you will find that they are related to Indian civil services. You had in chapter 9 in paper 1 called personal administration. That personal administration will give more of theoretical type of explanation about recruitment, training, performance appraisal, discipline, ethics, blah blah things. This civil services will talk about Indian civil service, how Indian civil service is organized, structured, recruited, this and that, all aspect will find. There will be a lot of overlapping, plus what reforms we have taken, let's say, especially since independence. So we club them as together because they are all taught together, which I will tell you how we teach them. So that you can consider. So it is related to administration. It is related to administration. This civil service, administrative reforms, this That you can say, even you have a district administrations, it will be linked to administration, we can say. In fact, its name is Union Government and Administration. Its name is State Government and Administration. This. So here polity, it is not pure polity also, it is mix of both polity and administration. Because the relationship between politics and administration cannot be separated. This, like say you have cabinet secretary giving advice to prime minister. It's both embedded relationship you have, not a separate relationship. Anyhow, but this is how the chapters, let's say you have. Then as we told that we have to have welfare, development, etc. type. So it is, since paper 1 also you have welfare, and remember that we told in the beginning itself what the role of the state is to serve people. State is to serve people. This is how. So how state can serve people, let's say. So there are 2 chapters dealing with this. One chapter is related to PSUs. Another chapter is related to planning. This is called plan and priorities. No, remember that time self-reliance and PSU's role, and they were considered as the main instrument of bringing development in our society's welfare. अभी भी जब privatization, disinvestment होता है तो बहुत protest होता है. The social safety net, etc., you can consider. So PSUs play a very important role in welfare and development. And without planning, let's say we adopted a system of planning for development. Planning Commission now replaced by Niti Aayog. You have, let's say that 2 chapters relating to that aspect. How many chapters? How many chapters it happened? 11. Since it is related to that side, we told how to generate resource, you have financial administration. That is in general. General, I mean to say that it will give more of a theoretical explanation. Its applied part, there is a counter, let's say, chapter. So one chapter here will be related to financial management. This financial management will be more focused to Indian aspect. That financial administration will be more in general, let's say that. Any country, let's say, financial system. So financial management, then let's say role of administration is also to maintain stability and order. Traditional role of administration was to maintain stability and order, right? Which is still an important role. And then role is also development. So that's why you have a separate chapter called, right, law and order. You'll understand that the traditional Max Weber formulated bureaucracy so that bureaucracy can maintain stability and order in society. Role of administration is law enforcement. But in developing countries, role of administration is multi-dimensional. In Western countries, still role of administration is law enforcement. They don't have developmental role because they have already developed themselves. No, do they have Manrega type, let's say, scheme and midday meal? So they will not have, right? That you can say that. And then we have, I guess, the last chapter, right? It is called right, issues in Indian administration. By the time we teach all chapters, this chapter is automatically taught except 2 topics, NHRC means National Human Rights Commission, and disaster management. Now, why they have kept this chapter, that ki by chance suppose topics are not mentioned there, so they can be covered under, it is open-ended chapter. In the name of issues in Indian administration, they can ask anything. This is how the syllabus, let's say. Anyhow, so these are, let's say, 26 chapters. So do you find, let's say, subjects means chapters overlapping? They are quite overlapping in nature. This because they are taught together. Let someone ask how it will be taught and overlapping. So let me go back to this. Generally, let's say first we teach that first 4 chapters, then we teach CPA. Since it is theoretical, then we teach like this, then we teach this chapter, this, and then we start teaching chapter 9. When we teach chapter 9, so we teach this also, techniques, and this also, so we teach together, and then we start going to this. We teach this 4 chapters together. After first 4 chapters, we teach CPA, then development administration, then we teach personnel, civil services, administrative reforms, and techniques in administrative improvement, as all 4 chapters are similar in nature. They will have also lots of overlapping topics. This, if you read the syllabus in details. This, and then after teaching them, we will not finish paper 1. We go to paper 2. We come back to paper 2 and we start teaching this chapter, evolution part, chapter 2. This part, basically union state, government. We teach union state government. After teaching this, we go to this accountability and control. This, once we complete accountability and control, then we go back to this rural development, urban development, district administration, this, and then let's see financial management, administration, etc. That is how the approach. So teaching means it is not the way syllabus is given. It is the way we find similarity between chapters, and we think that before a particular chapter is taught, you should have prior knowledge about a particular thing. This, like say, suppose we teach accountability and control, although at this stage it does not make sense to talk. Accountability and control if you teach, and we have not taught you about governments, legislature, executive, judiciary, because here you will have legislature, executive, judiciary. It's better to first teach about legislature, executive, judiciary, that is called union government, then come back to and teach that accountability and controls, you'll understand this. Similarly, public policy we teach towards end. Why? Because you know about the entire subject. Hence, you will be able to connect it, understand it. So that is how, let's say, it is. And that way, you will find that its syllabus further becomes, whatever you have seen that syllabus topics, it can be reduced to 1/3 because of overlapping. This, but since it is dynamic in nature, so we have to teach you recent developments also. When you have to teach recent developments, that can make a particular topic a bit lengthy, right? If the topic is dynamic. That is how about the subject. Then next, if you take as far as overlapping is concerned, so that you may have already analyzed, you may be aware about what are those overlapping parts. So we'll not talk on that. Gradually, when we'll teach the subject, we'll talk on that. But yes, if you take accountability, let's say entire polity aspect, this is how entire polity aspect is part of. This is also part of your GS paper 2. Then civil services also you have part of the GS paper. It is mentioned civil services you can consider this. They are not, but Niti Aayog is part of that. They are not, but it is part of your internal security. This, and chapter here you have disaster management. It is part of your in Disaster management, GS paper 3 you can consider. To some extent, financial management, financial administration will help also in economy, knowledge about budgeting and etc. You will know that way. And then similarly, let's say if you talk about accountability, that this is how governance part you have. Governance part in GS paper second, GS paper 4, both you have governance part. That way it helps. So that way you'll find that it will have its role in your GS paper. This then question comes about how you should read the subject, what should be your approach. This so you may be already familiar about this class, right? So we dictate things very properly, very systematically. This and whatever we teach in class, let's say you will write the way you have been writing today. So that becomes somehow, let's say, related to you can have, let's say, 4 or 5 booklets. This towards the end, the kind of copy you have brought. So you can have 4 or 5 of them. This. So you will also experience first time writing like this. You may not have written that level of things in your graduation, isn't it? This.
Paper 1 and paper 2 we will have to make separate, or since we have overlapping subject topics.
See, it will be taught in overlapping way, and the way we will dictate, you will make notes. Separation is not needed. Why? In paper 1, you have to bring paper 2nd. In paper 2nd, you have to bring paper 1. The more you connect, the more you connect to examiner. Yes, so that is how it happens. Anyhow, so you will have this, it will be adequate enough. This, whatever will teach, dictate here, it is adequate enough. No, but we are human. No, बच्चे को बोलते हैं कि लैम्प को टच मत करो. Right, but he will, let's say that कि not stop. He will touch the lamp and then fingers will get burned. Then उसको पता चलेगा. तो this is how I say कि ये दिल है कि मानता नहीं. तो आप पढ़ोगे, आप चाहोगे और कुछ पढ़ते हैं, isn't it? This is how we have. Or unless we buy something, there is no satisfaction. Isn't it? This. तो उसके लिए let's say already 5 booklets given. 5 printed notes have been given, let's say that. This. Five booklets given, that should be reference, let's say that. You should use them as, which I will keep saying chapter wise, topic wise, what you should read, where you should read. So you don't have to read in entirety. That I will tell you that at end of the day, if you are thorough with those 5 things, booklets, it's huge. Why? Try to understand that. It's not about that ki how much you read, how much you write. It's about how much you retain. This. If we cannot retain, what is the need of or benefit of teaching more and more? The teaching is designed in that way only, right? It should be comprehensive enough. At the same time, it should not be so lengthy that you are not able to retain it, because if you do not retain, you are not able to write in your answer. So we feel that it is wasteful exercise. This. So that is how, let's say, ki both aspects you have to see. You have to read in such a way that it is comprehensive, no doubt, but at the same time you are able to retain and write. because everything boils down to your answer. What you are not known, you are known by your answer, the piece of answer that you write, and that goes to examiner. This. That's why at the end of the day, people just reduce themselves to only notes. But in beginning, this is how the process to go to that level. So that is how you will try to refer them. But it is adequate enough. People have secured marks only by reading that notes. And you can also do that since you are doing event classes. That aspect you can consider. So that is how we can talk that it's almost 90% reliance on this. Whatever we teach, class notes, class handwritten notes. Now, there are 5 booklets which you'll use as reference, but then there can be, let's say, at least there are 3 fundamental books. This. So we have, let's say that. Okay? This. Why these are 3 fundamental books? It is for paper second, Aurora and Goel, Indian Administration. Basically, UPSC also follow them. UPSC asks direct questions from these books. This should know that. So when UPSC follows, why you should not also follow? Yes, that is how. Many a time to write answer, you will rely on class notes. To understand question, you have to rely on textbooks. Right? Why? To understand questions, you need to know the textbook language. You should be familiar with the language because our language will be very simple. This, which is to write answer, but questions are framed in a complex way. That is the difference between public administration and other subjects. Why? Public administration is a subject, it is not yet taught at graduation level, the way other subjects are taught at graduation level. Hence, those who are academicians framing questions, they are belonging to higher studies. Right? They will not belong to graduation level. That is the difference. And that's why this subject you can say. Anyhow, so this is what the 3 fundamental books. As of now, you should have Prasad and Prasad. This. And if you do not have Prasad and Prasad, you can buy later depending on your priorities. But let's say that you should read as of now Woodrow Wilson. When you come tomorrow, you read Woodrow Wilson because you will start from Woodrow Wilson, so you'll understand Woodrow Wilson. This today it was just introductory to talk about all public administration, this and that. This, yes, 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 right. Yes, class notes, let's say when we discuss in class, it's everything is incorporated. Nothing is left out. Be it Mohit Bhattacharya, Prasad and Prasad, ARC report, anything, even current developments, all things are incorporated in that. Because this is how the demand of the topic. So you don't have to, let's say, this is how we told that, once you are thorough with this class notes that you write, you don't have to depend on them. Because those things, let's say we have written a chapter called administrative reforms. So what we will teach in administrative reforms? We will teach in administrative reforms the reforms that have been taken up, the recommendations which have been given. We will not teach only ARC second, we will teach you administrative reforms in independence, including ARC first. Yes, we will teach all committee commissions. So the topics are designed in such a way that you will have to teach them this. That's why let's say that you don't have to make separate notes, because whatever you write in notes, they will be adequate enough. This, yes, at this stage it is very difficult to convince you. Right. That, as I told that child will not stop, let's say, unless child touches the lamp and gets that finger burnt. This, anyhow, let's come to newspaper etc. Newspaper generally you read, there are, let's say that some developments which can be related to public administration, relating to administration. But as of now, you should not give too much focus on these things. You should know that there is a strategy to prepare for this civil services. The strategy is that unless you are thorough with conventional part of the GS syllabus, optional, less time should be given to newspaper and current developments. Why? Because whatever the current developments you are reading today, consuming your time, tomorrow it will not be important. It is wasteful exercise. This, like say once there was Ukraine and Russia problem, now we had India and Pakistan problem. By the time you appear in your prelims and mains, there can be some other problems. This, so when you are, let's say, as of now, the conflicts going on between judiciary and government, but by the time when you appear in prelims and mains, let's say, there can be some other issues. If you are consuming your time more and more reading that, it is wasteful exercise. Once you know your conventional part, GS, and then optional, then in a way, let's say you yourself understand even if you not read those current developments. Because you know about governor, you know president, you know judiciary role. So you can understand them better than what you today study. This, you should give less time to them. Already we will incorporate, by the time we finish our topics, we'll incorporate all those current developments. And we'll tell you gradually what exactly current development means, let's say, for such subjects. Current development means not, let's say, generally this newspaper, this and that incidents. Current developments are fundamental facts, you know that. Fundamental facts, fundamental reports. This way they have relevance. Like say if Parliamentary Standing Committee has given any report, that is more important than any such, let's say, incident, because that incident is transitory in nature. But report is not transitory in nature. Like say RC second is not transitory. This, so we have to understand what exactly we have to cover in current developments. Although in that newspaper, etc., economic survey you have, you read for your GS, that will also help to public administration. But it is not a big, let's say, tension for you that I have to read current, because market में बहुत सारे फंडा चल रहा होता है. करंट्स पर, लेट्स से, अफेयर्स पढ़ा करो, करंट से लिंक करना है. अरे सब्जेक्ट पढ़ा नहीं, लिंक कैसे करेगा? This, unless you read the subject, unless you read the topic, how can you link? Same thing Delhi answer writing. आज से शुरू करते हैं डेली आंसर राइटिंग. राइट. दिस, आजकल बहुत इंक्वायरी आ रहा है, डेली आंसर राइटिंग होता है कि नहीं? दिस, अरे सब्जेक्ट पढ़ा नहीं, डेली आंसर राइटिंग क्या होता है? दिस, तो मैं क्वेश्चन देता हूँ, अभी तो पढ़ाया नहीं मैंने, बट डेली आंसर राइटिंग के नाम पे मैं एक क्वेश्चन देता हूँ, आप कल लिख के लाना. Isn't it? Right. तो these are all, let's say, मार्केट में बहुत सारी फंडा चलता है that you are influenced by. But many a time you have to wear blinkers. This is out. Avoid all these things. So जब तक नॉलेज नहीं होगा, अभी तो आपको समझ में आएगा पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, विल टॉक विल्सन, बट आप समझ सकते हो ना, बट यू मे नॉट हैव लिटरेचर टू राइट. This, knowing topic is one thing, but still you may not have developed the ability to generate literature and write. This, It will take a bit time. So there is no this called daily answer writing, etc. We don't follow. Rather, you will run away from writing answer. That time will also come. Which we'll talk. So generally, we have the tests. Let's say there are 22 tests in that, and first half chapter will be taught. One test will be there. Then second half chapter will be taught of first chapter. Then another test. So first two chapters there are 4 tests. This, and you write that. That is your daily answer writing practice. There are 10 questions. You will write 20 questions in chapter 1. This. So that is how. And one day time will tell, we'll ask that how many people have written those tests. This. So at this stage, answer writing is also not priority. Try to understand. जब बिल्डिंग आप बना रहे हो, फाउंडेशन यू आर लेइंग डाउन, तो यू कैन नॉट थिंक अबाउट इंटीरियर्स में क्या होगा. दिस, एक बार बिल्डिंग का स्ट्रक्चर आ जाने दो, फिर इंटीरियर्स की बात करना. दिस, बट अभी फाउंडेशन यू आर लेइंग डाउन एंड टेंशन इज अबाउट इंटीरियर्स में क्या होगा. तो दैट शुड नॉट बी. द राइटिंग कम्स वंस यू अंडरस्टैंड द सब्जेक्ट. द फोकस शुड बी एट दिस स्टेज टू अंडरस्टैंड द सब्जेक्ट. Writing time will also come once. This, it will going to come certainly. But suppose when you are not understanding the subject, that time when it comes, you would not able to write. This, it will certainly come. Now you are one day old in this batch. This, and gradually it will, right? Let's say you will become older by day. That time will also, everything has its own time. We do give emphasis on writing practice, and that is how it is. Let's see. Next, that although you may have classes, so just I will take just not more time. Next is that called your questions. बहुत सारे इंक्वायरीज पे ऐसे आता है कि डाउट कैसे पूछेंगे. अरे डाउट होगा तभी तो पूछोगे आप. राइट, डाउट के नाम पर डाउट क्यों पूछना. दिस, इट तो डाउट क्लियरिंग सेशन होता है कि नहीं. दिस, एनी हाउ, तो वी डोंट हैव डाउट क्लियरिंग सेशंस. बात कैसे होगी, जैसे हो रहा है. राइट, वी बिलीव दैट कि टू टीच इन सच ए फैशन दैट कि हार्डली देयर आर डाउट्स. दिस, इफ स्टिल देयर आर डाउट्स, वी टेक इन द एंड ऑफ द क्लास. Once class ends, you can raise your doubts. This, in fact, we keep asking while teaching itself. But our philosophy is to teach in such a way that you have very minimal level of doubts. This, so that doubts are not left. Still left, we encourage you to ask in the class itself. Suppose you have doubt of, let's say, yesterday class, that also you can ask when class ends. Even online people, they can also ask by their asking, writing, this texting that, let's say, their question, etc. We take it. We don't run away. This you should know that. मैं यही रहता हूँ, भागता नहीं हूँ क्लास के बाद. तो let's say that we don't run away from this, about your doubts, etc. silly questions, सब कुछ we try to answer. This, that is how we can say about the doubts and doubt, let's say, doubts clearing aspect. We believe also, कुछ doubts ही रहना चाहिए. We don't believe in clearing your 100% doubts. क्यों, ये humanities है. Humanities में कभी 100% doubts clear नहीं होता है. And you will qualify with doubts. Right. This, so that is how you have to tell to yourself. देखो आपको how much percentage you want. 500 में कितने marks आता है आजकल. This, the highest is 286, ठीक है, but 289 है मान लो. तो let's see, highest is 290 out of what is the percentage? This, what is the percent? 58%. ठीक है, मान लो 58, 59, राइट. दिस, और ये क्या है, यूपीएससी है. आपने क्या लाया है? बस आप 100% वाले हैं. अगर पॉसिबिलिटी होता CBSE तो आपको 200% भी दे दिया होता. This you have to understand, right? This subjectivity of this examination. और पेरेंट्स को जब पता चल जाएगा कि इतना आता है, अगर उनको नहीं पता है तो ठीक है, जब आपके कॉपीज में मार्क्स आएगा 40s 30 एट्सेट्रा, तो सोचेंगे कि कुछ पढ़ाई नहीं कर रहा है दिल्ली में जाकर. Anyhow, these are all processes which will go on. This process has started. We'll keep talking other things in other classes. Hope कि we have given you initial start, कि you understand the subject called public administration, what the subject is at all, and what we are going to teach. Yes, generally, let's see, if you want to understand and take the benefit of this class to the maximum level, so you should come reading that topic. Yes, once you read that topic, then come to the class. Then you will be able to understand better. You can also have some questions in advance. You can ask those questions once you finish the topic. Plus, you can buy any syllabus. आपके पास syllabus होगा. This syllabus, then questions, question analysis जो होता है without answers. You should keep one that and read that questions कि what from that particular topic question has been asked. We will take up also after finishing each topic those questions also, and we discuss also, like this is how the subject, this is how the class will proceed, and that is how we should end today here. No, so let's take our this silsila, isn't it? So let's take tomorrow. Okay.